All right, so I want to welcome everyone. Welcome all of you that are here. So for this group, I know that most of us are very familiar with the platform already. With the other group, it's a challenge because they are new to the platform. Um, but let me know, did everybody get a chance to get into the lessons this week? Lesson 19? Did it? Did anybody have any problem seeing the lessons? Um, Michael? All right, yeah. Yeah. Um, you got you got it late. But did you? I know that at one point you couldn't see the previous lessons. Yeah, but were you able to go in? I think I opened up because I accidentally closed off from lesson one all the way down to 18. Subsequently opened it, so you should be able to see them. But you're just going to see them. You're not going to see the activities because those activities. Because there's now two groups actually using some form of filter um, for the lesson. Okay, good. So you're able to do them now. All right. So, Big Data, did you have any problem logging in and seeing the lesson?
No, sir, not one problem. I log in, view my lesson, do my homework, and finish and everything.
All right. Good, good. All right. So, as I said, this class is just basically to review the content, and maybe to take any questions. Um, the point that I want to make is that I know sometimes some people hear about herbs and they think that okay, what we should be doing is focusing on herbs, but really and truly, it's not so much herbs; it's really natural healing, and vitamins and minerals is a critical part of the component. I guess I spoke about endocrine disruptors, which is if there's anything that is a pandemic now, I would think that it is endocrine disruptors. A lot of the illnesses that we have, a lot of the illnesses that we're seeing, um, is because of endocrine disruptors. And I think that if it is not something that is yet on the front burner, we need to put it on the front burner. Endocrine disruptors come in the form of food, because a lot of hormones is being introduced in quote unquote food and is at the root. So you're eating something that should be giving you life, that should be making you healthy. And the reality is that it is causing you to get sick. It is making you sick. We have to understand that. Because we live in a society where we feed on artificially formulated food. It is at the root of a lot of the diseases. And so if we were eating natural, there would be no need for us to understand vitamin A and the role that vitamin A plays and vitamin D and so on. But because we live in a society where isolated, dissected nutrients our food is being stripped and reformulated, we now have to understand all of these elements because we live in a society where the food is not nourishing enough, and so persons turn a lot to supplements. Most of us, including myself, even though we recommend whole foods, have to also recommend supplements. So the fact that you have to recommend supplement means that you have to understand what goes into a supplement and how a supplement, is formulated. You have to understand that. So that is the reason why we're going through all of these um, lessons. It's not because we want to encourage persons to take supplement, but it is because we have to do it to some extent. So we must understand supplementation. And as you see, and as you see, supplements are what is called the nutraceutical industry, is a huge industry. And it can also be at the root. It can also be at the root of a number of ailments. Persons who don't get enough vitamin D, persons who take too much vitamin D, too much vitamin A, too much vitamin E, especially when we talk about the fat-soluble vitamins. It's important that we understand the role that vitamins and minerals play in our nutrition and the role that it plays in making us healthy. So some of it may not be information that you actively use, but it is going to be information that you have to refer to in the future, especially when you come up on certain ailments. When you start to see certain symptoms, you're gonna have to look back and say, hey, I have to look back on this. So, it's definitely critical information as it relates to, practicing natural healing. But is there any questions? Are there any questions or observations or any input that anyone wants to share based on the unit 19?
Good night, Doc. I just want, yeah, it's not really about Unit 19. I just want to say that Sharon said asked me to apologize for her as she will not be able to make it.
Who's that?
Sharon Hay.
Oh, Sharon. Okay. Thank you.
She has to go to some other engagements, so she might be late, or she might not be even able to make it.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So we are recording, so I'll post this meeting in the group so she can watch it later. All right. All right. So nobody basically has any.
Yes.
Was that
yes, Doc.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir. All right. So you mentioned about in the vitamin B6. You were talking.
I'm not hearing you.
That's the speaker. All right. Let me type the question.
Yeah, type it because we can't hear. Yes, bigger.
Yes,
go ahead.
Doc. What I wanted to say is that because the earth has been so depleted, even when you eat the right food, sometimes you still not get the right amount of minerals from the foods where we eat. So I always recommend vitamins. I myself take a lot of vitamins every day, every single day. And I recommend vitamins to all my clients. It's a part of the healing process.
Yes.
Yeah, man. So it's super essential.
Blessings. One of the first negative experience that I have with vitamins, and a lot of people have this with vitamins, is with iron. I remember my first client that I saw that had constipation issues because of iron supplementation. And iron supplementation is no joke. A lot of persons are poisoned. A lot of persons have fatal experiences because of iron. So much so that a lot of multivitamins have opted, a lot of manufacturers of multivitamins have opted to remove iron or to significantly reduce the amount of iron that they have in supplement because of the negative repercussions that persons may have. So iron supplementation is one of the most common vitamin poisoning is from iron. So as I said, outside of iron, there's also vitamin D. You will notice that, especially for the children, you will see the thing that says fortified with vitamin D. Vitamin D is not something to play with because a lot of persons who have kidney stone, a lot of persons who have arteriosclerosis, is because of vitamin D supplementation. So it now begs for the need to have knowledge, as it relates to taking vitamins. So especially when I'm recommending supplements, I like to know the iron content. I like to know the vitamin D content and so on and so forth. Because some companies, depending on the source, have a lot in it. And depending on what the person is eating and how the person is eating, you have to be able to guide them because they may have underlying health condition that prohibits them from taking certain minerals. So it is very important that we have that knowledge. And also because we're going to be working with persons and may have to recommend, and we'll have to recommend supplements, it's important that we have an understanding of the body's requirement as well as the the interaction that it may have with certain foods as well as other medications. All right. Yes, Trevor.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you unmuted yourself because you wanted to say something.
I know. I'm listening. I'm trying to catch up on the vitamin talk. What you're saying that the iron sometimes bound persons. You were always saying that some of the iron is not natural. That comes from
Yes.
certain companies, and it can
Yes.
cause iron poisoning.
Yes. We talk about chelated supplements. The reason so some, because some companies are trying to cut corner.
Yes.
What they do is that they try to use forms of a mineral that is a low quality, and iron is one of them. All right. So,
Okay.
all right.
Yeah, because I noticed a lot of people is low in potassium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Michael is saying the vitamin B6 in regard to the therapeutic daily amounts being increased to more than 50 milligrams. It is recommended to be broken down into 50 milligrams portions. If this is to be done, how is this regimen be carried out during the day? Oh, right. So if you're gonna take it would be again depending if it's 50 milligrams, then it will be one. It depends on what the supplement, the dosage that the supplement has.
Yes.
Depends on the supplement. I think B6 has to be prescribed, or B6 is sometimes an injectable. So what they would do is that the physician would give you the amount that you need
Okay.
for B6, right? Some there's what is called there's a type of therapy that some medical doctors carry out called chelation therapy, which is a cocktail of vitamins at the therapeutic dose. So for some physician, and it's an injectable, so it's a liquid form. So there are certain medical doctors, and because the injectables is only because of the dosage, you can't get it over the counter. So it is only dispensed through a medical doctor. So because of that, there are persons who may have flu, or they may have cancer, or they may have immunocompromised health issues. And so one of the ways that some doctors treat them is through IV therapy or chelation. So they'll go in and they'll give them a high dosage of certain vitamins to boost their body. B17 is one of them, and a number of other B vitamins are what we call supplements that are beneficial in boosting the immune system. So those are available through chelation. But the best form of getting our vitamins is through fruits fruits and vegetables, nuts and grain. As Bigaton said, because of what's happening with the soil. And so that is the reason why that it still can be remedied, because we can literally build the soil. If you notice that one of the biggest thing out there on the internet is you know, building soil, where you can get your worm and you can literally build back the soil to what it should be. Right? If you get your worms, and if you get your other microorganisms, and if you get your compost, you can literally build your soil. Right now, that is what we are doing. Where we are literally making soil. So we have some compost that we have created, and we have some worms, and we have some other stuff that we're doing to build back soil, so that we can farm our foods organically.
So where does the compost come from?
Where is what?
Where does the compost came from?
Oh, the compost, it can come from different places. You can use your kitchen scrap, but we use, because we live in the hills, there's a lot of dead leaves, and there's a lot of rotten foliage under trees all about. So we just get those foliage, and we get earth, and we get other organic material, and we put them into some bins, and we get worms, and we allow that to break down the material, and then we use it now as planting matter.
Okay.
So even with the herbs that we're getting ready to plant, we are basically using those techniques to ensure that the soil is much more richer. It has the right amount of bacteria, it has the right, because literally, in the scripture, in olden times, when in the scripture they were told to allow the land to experience Sabbath, or cycles of not harvesting. This was really a way of building back the soil. It was natural farming method that was intended to allow the soil to rebuild and to be nourished, so that it could continue to provide nourishing food for the people. So we can do that, and we should be doing that, especially now. That's one way to increase the nutrient quality of food. We can increase the nutrient quality of food by building the plant matter that the plant goes into, and you get more nutritious. Right. So yeah.
What about a B complex, like a B complex that has all the bees in it, basically?
Well, that is what we recommend. We recommend taking supplements as close to how they are found in nature as is possible. So that is the reason why we recommend taking B complexes and not taking B6 or B2 or B3, not taking the Bs in isolation, because they were designed to be taken like that. You can have adverse reactions. So we do recommend taking B complexes.
Nice.
And even taking natural B complexes, like, for example, molasses is a very good B complex source. And not only B complex, but it has other minerals like iron and other minerals that help it to assimilate the vitamin B. Fermented foods, are some other good sources. But the best source of B complex really is sea vegetables.
Okay.
In our diet, we don't talk about sea vegetable a lot. The only sea vegetable we talk about is sea moss. But as much sea vegetable that we can incorporate in our diet, is the better it is for us, really.
Okay. Like sea moss?
Huh?
Like sea moss?
Yeah, like sea moss, but there's sea moss, there's bladderwrack, there's reishi, there's dulse. There's so many sea vegetables out there that, and I mean, a lot of the seaweed that you see in the ocean is edible. All those seaweeds that you see out there, they're edible. They can be eaten. They are suspended in minerals now. Seawater is mineral. So, you have to be careful, because again, they're suspended in minerals. And so there's depending on where you harvest them or where you get them, they can be contaminated, because there's so much contamination out there. But really and truly, sea vegetables give our bodies micronutrients. So it is something that we need to incorporate more into our diet, and not only into our diet, because as I talk about building back soil, we can use them. We can, in our compost heap, we can add it to the compost heap. Because remember, you know, the plant is feeding from the soil. So whatever you put in the soil, you are putting back in the plant, and you are getting it. So, you know, we have to, you know, begin to do some of that. All right. All right. So this evening, unit 20 is the last unit in the vitamin series. We're going to be looking at fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin A and vitamin D and vitamin E, all those vitamins that are also essential, but that we have to be careful of because some of the most toxic vitamins are fat-soluble vitamins because the body holds on to them. And of course, we'll be looking at the forms because again, it is a form that we put into the body. The body, that's why plant is so amazing because we don't have to discuss these things. We don't have to measure them. We don't have to weigh them. Once you eat, once our source of minerals is coming from plants, we don't have to know, we don't even have to go into the different breakdown of, you know, how much of this and how much of that because it's properly formulated and proportioned in the plant so that our body can utilize it properly. You know, so whole foods is the way to go, not partial foods, whole foods, where all the nutrients are intact and synergistically working to provide it. All right. All right. So I know that you know, it's self-explanatory. So I don't want to drag out tonight's meeting. Just wanted to meet so that if you have any question, lesson 20 goes live at 11:59 tonight. You know, we don't want to stop. We have no intention to stop. We want to flow right through so that we can get into the quantum and, you know, we can get into those critical matter that we need to get into. All right. All right. So if there aren't any questions, guys, yeah, go ahead, Big Tom.
All right, Doc. I just wanted to know that I have the machine up and running. Yeah, man, set up and everything.
All right, the set up and running. All right. So we were discussing with the other group practical. I'm looking at what is it, July 3rd to August 4th, and because we have people abroad and we have people locally. So I'm trying to work on, you know, before, you know, by next month, what I think I'm gonna do to make it affordable and practical, because it's impractical for persons to leave their lives to come, you know, for somewhere for 6 weeks. So some of the solutions is to do the practical over some weekends. So I think that is very, very practical. So that's the avenue we're going to look for those persons who are local, but if persons local, they could really come for the 6 week. It really would have been good to have everybody from class in that one setting, and it really would have been good because one of the components that I really wanted for us to experience is to experience a 10-day retreat, which is one of the key points of our program. I really wanted persons to experience the 10-day cleansing process. What is it that we do? What the experience is like? Because in our program, one of the things that we encourage, and I strongly encourage it, don't ever be afraid of recommending retreats, especially if you have persons who are very ill, because if you know, when you get the chance to get somebody to take them out of their normal setting and to give them what they need in terms of food and in terms of medicine, I'm telling you, remember, I'm doing this for a long time now, and I'm telling you that it's completely different from when you give persons supplements or send persons supplements. It's as if for the rest of their lives, it impacts them. So I tell persons, if you can, and one thing I would encourage you, is don't be afraid to do retreats. And as soon as it is possible for you to start doing retreats, then I would encourage you to do retreats, because the difference between doing a retreat and treating somebody outside is a far cry. It's very, 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 very far. When you see the results and what those people walk away with, just imagine whatever you're doing with helping them outside, multiply that by about 100 when you have them under your care and you're able to add not only the medicine and the food, but also the understanding, the mindset. You get that mind, teach that mind, and to guide that mind. They leave being totally transformed. So what I want to do is I want to incorporate that 10-day retreat into the clinicals. That's a critical part of it, and I want to include some herb walks. Those are two critical components that I want persons to experience as they go out there, experiencing in totality what it is. It's kind of like very difficult to be telling somebody to do something, guiding somebody to do something when you yourself have never done it. You don't know what to expect, what to experience. When you've done it and you know what you experience. You see, selling is a transfer of emotion. When you begin to tell somebody, you're not just talking from a theoretical perspective, but you're talking from an experiential standpoint as well. And it adds a lot of weight to what you're saying and how you're saying. So that is something that we want to have, and it would have been good to do that 10 continuous days out of in the 6 weeks as well. All right, but you'll hear more about that in next month as we finalize it and type it up. All right, so guys, again, thank you for being on, and hope to see you next week. And I hope that we see more persons on next week. Again, tonight's presentation is recorded. It will be uploaded to YouTube, and it will be a private video, so it won't go public. And I'll place the link in the group for persons who missed tonight to watch it at their leisure and disposal. All right, thank you again, guys, for tonight, and hoping to see you guys next week. Have a wonderful evening. Until next week.
You too,
all right?
and the family. Respect.